Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. Before we get started on today's episode, just want to thank everybody for supporting the channel, pushing to 3,000 subscribers. So if you guys do enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe. It would mean a lot. So the Miami Heat blew another double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, and they lost to the Knicks last night, 116 to 112. The Heat were up by 19 at one point, and they still lost this game. This is the second time this season against the Knicks. We've played them twice so far that we've blown a double-digit lead. We were up by 13 or 14 in the second half against the Knicks the first time we played them, and we choked and blew it. And then this time, we were up by 19 points in the first half, 16 points at one point in the third quarter, 12 points at one point in the fourth quarter, and went to overtime. I don't know what our overtime record is. Someone in the chat, if you guys can let me know what it is. It's not great. I know we've lost to Detroit multiple times in overtime, and so we're below 500 for sure. I think we've at least had 4 to 5 overtime games. I think if we have had 4, we're 1-3 or 2-4, whatever it is. So this Heat team is frustrating, and when they give you hope and they string together a couple good games, they come back and they do this. They are inconsistent. Their offense was fine in comparison to the last few weeks where they scored 86 multiple times and 85, but it's still inexcusable that Spo is continuing to make these mistakes and that his players are not executing. It's not just on Erik Spoelstra, but playing Terry Rozier to open up the fourth quarter, not playing Kel'el Ware because he said he wasn't hurt, and he's still he got banged up on that one play where Mitchell Robinson fell into his leg, but he was still available. He basically even said in the press conference, I don't know why, it's the coach's decision. I go with what the coach says, but we needed size. But Spo was worried about their three-point shooting, so he wanted more perimeter defenders. But Terry Rozier is not a perimeter defender, so like, why are you playing him right now? So it's just insanely frustrating. This season has been rough for the Miami Heat. They are now 28-31, and they keep blowing double-digit leads. And if they haven't blown this many double-digit leads, they would be contending for home court advantage and be a top 4 seed, literally, which is wild to think with Jimmy Butler, missing a lot of games before he got traded and then getting suspended all those games during his trade saga, and then of course getting traded and not having Jimmy Butler and having you guys integrated into our team, having injuries here and there. It's having Spo being terrible this season, quite frankly, at times. And still, this team had a chance to be a top 4-5 team. They're 7th right now, for heaven's sake, which is insane, for how bad they've been playing. In their last 10 games, they're 3-7. They can't beat good teams. And this is proof that they are mediocre. They are 9-21 now versus teams that are above 500, meaning we cannot beat any good teams. 8 for 21 is terrible. We only beat the crappy teams, and we don't even do a great job of that. If we did do a great job of even beating the crappy teams, then we would probably still be 6th in this wild season. That's wild to think. But either way, right now, the Miami Heat, with their 28-31 record, they are one of the top teams in terms of most blown double-digit leads this season in the NBA at 15. Right now, the Utah Jazz is the only team that has more blown leads than the Miami Heat. They have, I think, 17, and that they have a 15-45 record. So in comparison, of course the Jazz are blowing leads because they're a terrible rebuilding team. This Miami Heat team has an all-star in Tyler Herro, a former all-star in Bam Adebayo. Yes, Andrew Wiggins missed the last few games, but still, they have good pieces. Andrew Wiggins is solid. Davion Mitchell is solid. Duncan is solid. Kel'el Ware is one of the best rookies this season. We have pieces, but yes, we can use the excuse that Jaime wasn't playing, Wiggins wasn't playing this game. Jovic is out and might miss the season, but who cares? You're up by 19. You're good enough. You got to deal with the roster that you have in front of you. And this roster, with people in and out of the lineup, has still had many, many games where we were up by double digits and lost. We've lost 14 of those games against these teams where we've had double digit leads. And it's embarrassing. Like Sunday against the Knicks, it was embarrassing. They were up 19, like I said, in the third quarter and up 12 in the fourth, and you simply can't blow those games. Like the Miami Heat play well for the first few quarters, and then they shit the bed every game, it seems like. Spo basically was saying, like, teams are shooting a ton of threes at a high clip. And so, you can't expect to blow teams out. And there was a couple of swings and momentum changes in the fourth quarter that could have extended the lead, but the Miami Heat's obvious offense became stagnant. And from there, Heat forward Haywood Highsmith just couldn't stop Jalen Brunson. Like he was just getting to the rack, finishing at will. OG Anunoby was converting at a high clip, hitting some big threes, and it was rough. Spo was more upset that the Heat were up by 4 with a minute 13, and we were unable to sustain and keep that lead. He was more upset that we weren't able to finish and close. And of course, I'm upset about that too, of course, but still, just in general, it's not a good look. It's really embarrassing that we can't continue to have continuity. And it's this inconsistent offensive execution outside of Spo making his rotational mishaps, his substitution patterns that have been bad, and also just going away from certain players like Khalil Ware. Like the Heat have been known for their unselfish ball movement, but then Tyler, like in the first half, was playing amazing, and then he started becoming selfish, taking some bad shots, and not going to Bam Adebayo when Bam Adebayo was the hot hand. That slipped away. Like we just were forcing bad 3-pointers, not just Tyler, but just in general, taking bad shots, and the offense became so stagnant. Then we had defensive lapses again. Jalen Brunson was getting to the cup anytime he wanted to, and there was cracks. Like we needed Khalil Ware in there to protect the rim. Khalil Ware had like 6 blocks alone in that game. So this has just been a frustrating season for the Miami Heat. Like again, I they reel me back in with a couple big wins against the Hawks and then the Bucks and then or the Pacers, I mean. And then you have a game like this where you have to win this game. You're up by 19 and you blow it. And it's just like we constantly lose to these teams that are above 500, meaning we're a bad team. A good team finds ways, scrappy ways to win games. They win by either dominating games, they're resilient and they come back, or they hold leads and they're steady. Good teams find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose. The Miami Heat find ways to lose every single week. It's rough, man. And look at this in the standings real quick. So the Heat are 7th, like I've mentioned. So if we look at the standings here, the Heat are in 7th. They're 28-31, and they're 3-7 in the last 10 games, which is horrible. All their games are going to basically be home. They have like 23 games left. They're 14-12 at home. They have a terrible road record. Look at the Pistons. Look at the Pacers. Skip the Bucks because they have below 500. But Knicks, Celtics, Cavs, like all the teams that are in front of them, except for the Bucks, have a good away record, and the Miami Heat don't, simply. So we need to take advantage of games at home, which we didn't last night. But think of this. So they're 28-31, right? If they won 7 of those 15 or 14, whatever games that we blew, that were up by double digits in the second half, in the third quarter, fourth quarter, let's add 7 wins. The Miami Heat would be 35-24. That means they would be 4th place ahead of the Bucks if we only won half of those 14 games that we blew. If we only won 6, let's say we won 1 less, we would be 34-25, meaning we'd have the same record as the Bucks and Pacers. We'd be competing for the 4th seed in a 3-way tie with these teams. I know we're 1-1 with the Pacers. I think we're 1-1 with the Bucks as well. So that would have come down to the final games for the tiebreaker. But 6 of the 14, I'm not even asking for half. Like, it's just insane. Like, if they've won 5, give us 5, and we're literally only a game back from the Pistons versus being 5 games behind the Pistons, right? 1 game if we even won 5. Like, it's unreal. Like, it's just pathetic that they've blown this many leads, honestly. And the game last night, specifically against the Knicks, I mean, that was just a tough game, man. Like, it's a top team in the East. They're number 3, and we had them where we wanted them, and we still just couldn't execute down the stretch. Like, if we look at the game, obviously Mikal Bridges, he didn't do much. We shut him down. OG Anunoby had a really good second half, 4 for 9 from 3, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. He was crushing it. 2 steals, 3 blocks. He was a menace. Carl Anthony Towns was fine, 19 points, 16 boards, but it was Jalen Brunson in that second half of that fourth quarter and overtime that killed us. 31 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. We have no closer. They have a closer. Even though he was 3 for 11 from the field, he was still 13 from 25 from the field, which is over 52%. And if we go look at our guy, Tyler Herro, who played okay, who had 22 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. He was 2 for 11 from 3, but 8 for 24. That's just not good enough. 33%. Jalen Brunson shooting 52. That's the ball game right there when you look at our top 2 player or our top player compared to theirs. Bam Adebayo crushed it. We went away from him. 12 for 16 from the field, 30 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. He was crushing it, and we went away from him, which I don't know why we did, which was huge. Davion Mitchell was solid again, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Burks, played well. He was in the rotation. Thankfully, he was 4 for 5 from 3, 12 points, 3 assists, had a steal, 3 rebounds. Duncan was okay from the field, 4 for 10, but 2 for 6 from the 3. But still solid, 5 assists coming off the bench, 3 rebounds, 10 points. Haywood was even fine. It's just like we don't have Nico, we don't have Wiggins, we don't have Jaime. Like, I don't know why Pella is not playing or getting an opportunity at this point. Like, Kyle Anderson wasn't it. Terry Rozier wasn't it. It's just super frustrating that we're losing all these games because otherwise the whole trajectory of the season could have been completely different if we won just 6 of those 14 games. And yeah, this team it's collapsing right in front of our eyes. Playing the Wizards today, if we lose this game, it's over. Like, I don't know. I'm never gonna not watch Heat games, but if we lose against the lowly Wizards, who I think have 11 wins total today, I'm gonna freak out, honestly. Like, I'm gonna crash out, and it's gonna be not fun watching this team moving forward. It's gonna be pathetic. We keep having pathetic losses, and there's other games that have been more pathetic, I think, than this New York Knicks loss. The Dallas Mavericks game when every player was out, literally from Kyrie to Anthony Davis to Lively to Gaffer to everybody, literally Clay. Like, that was probably more embarrassing, but still, like, we just find new ways to lose. And if we lose to the Wizards, I'm going to be so goddamn mad. There's no way we do, but if we do, oh my God. Anyway, we need to figure shit out. Spo needs to be better. He has been horrible. You have 23 games to figure this out. You need to not play Terry Rozier. You need to play Kel'el Ware as much as humanly possible to get him as much tread on his tire as possible as a rookie to develop him. We need to see what he's made out of. Run some plays for him. Run with the hot hand. If Bam is hot, call plays for him. Tyler, stop like chucking up shots in the fourth quarter. Like, play like you did in the first half, like playmaking, distributing, like off ball, like you were great. And then you shit the bed. 33% is horrible. Like, you can't do that. So anyway, that's all I have for this episode. I'm pissed, as you can tell, but we're still in the 7th seed. And I want it to stay that way. We don't want to be outside of the play-in. 7th seed is the best play-in seed to be. We don't want to be 8th. We want to be 7th, so we get home court in the play-in. We have 2 opportunities at home to win. We'll see what happens. Plenty of season left. Crazier shit can happen, but it's going to be very hard for us to catch up with Detroit. After last night's loss, I don't think it's possible because we're 9-21. Use the facts. Use the data. 9-21. We're 9-21. What makes you think we're going to beat these teams? We're playing against like 13 teams that are above 500 out of our last 23. Okay, like, our win percentage is crap against those teams unless we could somehow go 10-3 against those teams, which I doubt we can because we don't even have 9 wins on the entire season thus far out of 30 games. What makes you think we're going to win 10 out of 13? We'll see. Anyway, anything's possible. And right now I'm frustrated, but that's all I have for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.